topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Good evening. It's welcome to the 14th of November, 2022. Another segment of Setting It Straight with Miss Gray. But we would not be who we are if not for our wonderful technician, producer in the background who you never see, but we know he's there. We wanted to give a shout out to DJ, who just puts up with us, and he's just so patient. God bless you. Yeah, we give you applause there. Thank you so much for your service and your heart, and we appreciate you. And I just want to give you that shout out. And also, Setting It Straight would not be what it is. It won't. It wouldn't. It won't ever without these two wonderful ladies on my right and on my left. Well, actually, they're in front of me, so one is on the left and one's below me. But anyway, we have Trey from all the way from Virginia. Yay! Trey, how are you?
Hey.
Welcome, and thank you for being with us tonight. And of course, as always, my right hand, you could think a thing and she's on it. And we're just so thankful for her. I'm so thankful for her. She's just been a wonderment for years, even as a student, but beyond that. And I'm thankful for that. But Miss Tomei, when I asked her, hey, God said for you to join us. She's like, okay, I never did it before, but I'll be there.
I'm ready.
Well, thank you again, ladies, for joining us tonight. And we love our fabulous audience that most of the time they're not able to come on Monday night and be with us live, but they go back. I see the statistics is increasing every week. They go back, they view, and they leave. But you got to leave not a comment, but put a thumbs up or let us know that you are taking a look at it, okay? And we appreciate it ever the more. Tonight we're going to talk about today is Diabetes Awareness Day. There sometimes is a month or whatever the case may be. And I was going to have a guest speaker on that was going to come from the world of medicine and her work with lots of the patients, unfortunately, are amputated. And that's how I met them and everything. And I'm hearing some horror stories, unfortunately, about people who are not making it out of the hospital without being amputated. A lot of people are being, they go into their comas. Sepsis is on the rise from nowhere. And it's been rising for the last 4 years. I had it myself 4 years ago, going into the hospital with a stomach ache. And unfortunately, I'm hearing that people are waking up and they're already amputated because they go into a coma for a few weeks, not just a day, not just, but they're in a coma and then they wake up and they've lost a limb. The majority, that's one thing my doctors used to say, Miss Gray, all of our patients are diabetic. Everybody in here is diabetic. Everybody you see this, they've had surgery. They are all diabetic. You're the only one that's not. And they literally would have candy during Halloween time And they have one bag for everybody else, which was diabetic candy. And then they have the one regular bag and put my name on. This is for Miss Gray. A lot of patients didn't even like me. They're like, who is Miss Gray? She gets a bag. And I go in with my aide and we would have a couple of pieces of candy, chocolates, preferably when we would leave the place. But nevertheless, I want to talk about, the Lord wanted us to really talk about health issues, but since diabetes is taking the lead tonight and this month, understanding that, when you get that diagnosis or when you already, diagnosed at an early age, and we got a lot of gestational diabetes going on and early childhood diabetes that's on the rise now because kids are not eating healthy. They're just not eating healthy. And you could tell by their overweightness. You've got a 4-year-old kid, 5-year-old kid, and they are, toting extra weight. And the way our skeletal frames are made, some is large bone, some is not. And you overweight, you're gonna feel it, and that's one of the issues surrounding diabetics and things. And we want to talk about that tonight. But also the Lord he put another hint on this thing too by saying that diabetes is is inherited. It's an inherited disease. And that's why it's important that you know your family background as much as you can, whether it's on both sides. And if you got it both sides, God help us, because somebody's going to get it. Somebody's going to suffer from diabetes, and it could be non-insulin or insulin. But 9 times out of 10, it will raise itself up to be, where you would need heavier doses of medication. And also you have that conversation with your doctor that if you don't get this under control, and if this medication don't help that we're prescribing, eventually you could lose a limb. And folks I've seen at some of my, social gatherings with other amputees, that's their story. They're smokers. They have heart issues. They have diabetes. Those are the 3 top main, scenarios that could lead to amputation. None of those were mine. However, everybody was guessing that. What happened to her? Oh my God, she must be diabetic. My foot surgeon said no. Oh, well, she's got to have heart congenital, some kind of heart, such things going on. Nope. And went on from there. So it's about self-care, but I want to also focus on the generational curse piece, because if you have some genetic disorders, and you're not taking care of yourself before you bring another child or another human being, or before you bring life into this world, there's a big chance that they're going to get it in their DNA. And they're going to come in this world fighting. They come into this world fighting. And they want to be like regular people. They see the kids running around, the kids getting candy and eating sweets and having pizza, and yet you're on a restricted diet and you're in the 3rd grade. So we want to talk about this, and ladies, I want you to hop in here too. But let me give the definition of generational curses that I found interesting. Is an ancestral sin, generational sin, or ancestral. Okay, that's ancestral. Sorry, guys. Where did my definition go? Oh, a generation curse is believed to be passed down from one generation to another due to rebellion against God. If a family is marked by divorce, it reoccurs. It can occur because nobody is stopping the curse or stopping the situation. And I'm going to explain what I mean by that. When I met my first husband, and after we were friends and stuff, and we realized that we were going to be, we were kind of falling for each other. He went on to tell me that he has this disorder, a medical disorder. Both he and his identical twin brother is nowhere in the family. They don't know where it came from. Nobody paid any attention to it until he moved down here from Georgia. And then his brother followed him. And it's a disorder called Marfan syndrome. And where it came from where that name came from was during Abraham Lincoln days, because he had it. But he was assassinated before they could do any more research. They are thin framed. Their skin is very thin. They have eye situations. And my ex-husband had his lens, whereas our lens stand up in our behind our eyeball there, their lens lay down. Also, the main thing focus on this disorder is the aorta. Their aorta. It continues to grow. Yours stop. Normally, anybody without that disorder, your aorta stops growing. Theirs continue to grow. And normally, unless it's caught and diagnosed and monitored and treated by a heart medication for the rest of their lives, they have to take a heart pill for the rest of their lives to slow that aorta from growing. It usually ends up with it becomes an aneurysm, and it bursts and the person dies. Or if you have a chance to, if you see it's growing, and then you 9 times out of 10, you may be able to be placed on the list for a heart transplant. But it wears out the rest of your heart, the valves of your heart and everything. So he had to take Coumadin to thin the blood, because if they nick their thin skin, they're bleeding automatically. His eyes, their optometrist back home, once she realized that not only did my ex have it, but his twin brother had it, and their older kids had it. My son has an older brother. He has it. His cousin, who is the uncle's oldest and only child, that's another story, only child, looked just like him, she has it also. So when Dr. Lowe found out that she had 4 patients with this, she ordered a special chair in her office just for them. It was over $10,000 back in those days. And that was over 30 years ago, as a matter of fact. And that chair could lean them all the way back and force their lenses up so that she could do a thorough eye exam on them. They wear contact lenses and they wear bifocal glasses at the same time, because the vision is shot. Fortunately, my ex was able to get a heart transplant. Unfortunately, his brother passed away. And I think he had just had the surgery where they replaced the main valve, which is the aorta. And Firestone makes the valve. Firestone, the tire people. Yes, that really freaked me out. I was like, oh my God. His doctor, once he realized he had it, had to fly to Emory University in Atlanta to find somebody to teach him and train him just in case his heart was going to fail him. Because he couldn't, that doctor could not do the surgery. But he learned. He went up on his own time and learned, and came back just in time when Don's aorta was growing very fast, very fast. And he got in there just in time to do the valve transplant. But unfortunately, that valve didn't last to where he had to get a new heart just a few years ago. So that's ideal of generational curse. Okay, now, Miss Gray, why are you bringing that up? Well, thank you for thinking that. I'm going to tell you why. Because the moment I did say I do it, because he loved God and he was tall. That was all that, my criteria wasn't, all out there. Yeah. And in that order, he loved God and he was tall. Yeah. Okay. Here we go. We'll talk about relationships and expectations another time. But anyway, and he told me about the disorder. And then I figured, when I realized, he asked me to marry him and everything, and we were going to have try to have a child, even though he already had a son. I said, okay. And I was just learning about spiritual warfare and how to take back your community, how to take back your families, and I was just learning that. And it was right on time, because I prayed every day for that first year. We weren't trying that first year, but we ended up saying, that second year of marriage, let's try to see if we can have, because the only 2 things I hadn't done was gotten married and had a baby. I already had my master's, I had my own business, and all kinds of things. We'll talk about that. Be careful what you ask for. Anyway, be careful what you pray for. You're going to get it. And I prayed, before I was even trying to have a baby, I began to pray and break that curse and break any hypertension, because it's in all of my biological, both sides of the family. There's a female disorder with cysts and fibroids. I was praying on that as well. Those are the top three that I prayed every day, diligently, every day, binding it up. Don't let it come in my family. Don't let it come through my genes. Don't let it come through my DNA, and everything. And to God be the glory. To God be the glory. My 6'5" giant, his legs are like mine and his eyesight is mine, but his heart is fine and he is beyond healthy. But it's about praying and praying without ceasing and knowing what to pray and how to pray. You can break the curses in your family, but you got to realize it's a curse. You can't, everybody just kind of say, oh yeah, we got high blood pressure. Child, ain't nothing, just take your pills and go to this doctor. And you think you've done it. No. No, we're not going that way. And then you got to make sure you fooling around with the other fella and you get pregnant. That's 23 chromosomes your baby going to get. You have to know that family history too. What y'all suffer from? No. Second marriage. Had to find out just as I'm falling in love with this fella. I'm just, oh my God, wait to meet the mama. And she go, oh, is that your hair? I said, yes, ma'am. Oh, my girls, I had to put a kit in theirs. I'm like, kit? What's a kit? I said, what do you mean? Oh, that I had to put, and to this day, they're in their late 60s, and I think one just turned 70, and they don't have their natural hair. I kid you not. I know you're going to think really ill of me, and then I'm going to let the ladies talk. You're going to think really ill of me, but I went in the bath. I said, where's your bathroom? Because I can feel the tears coming. I'm like, I love this man. We talked about having a daughter, and the girls don't have, the men are all bald, and the girls don't have their natural hair. Oh, heck. I'm in the bathroom, and I cried. I said, God, why'd you do this to me? Why? They don't have not only good hair, they don't have no hair. God, oh, Jesus, you got to help me. And my husband came and knocked on the door. Well, fiance, he said, you all right? Yeah, I'm fine. How am I going to get out of this? Jesus, how am I get out of this? I know y'all going to say, oh, that is really petty. No, it's not. Because my husband, deceased husband now, when he comb his hair, brush his hair that way, it come right back. He brush, bing, bing, bing. There you go. And I'm like, are you sure you're not from another country? You sure you ain't got that in y'all? Y'all just from Carolina? Oh, Jesus. Well, I prayed on that. I said, oh, Jesus. Oh, God, Jesus. Okay, I guess we're going to go through with this. But okay, Lord, please, Lord Jesus, please let everybody have my hair. Whoever coming through this relationship, let them have my hair, please. My chromosome. God is good. God is good. My baby boy kind of got a little whisk of that. And I was like, okay, we got to cut it because we got to keep it low so I can control it. And but now he has worked that whole thing out, and with the help of his sister, and it's amazing. We don't have that here, but right for prayer, praying correctly, guys. I'm gonna stop talking now and let you all talk about what's your views on diabetes. Anything you've had any personal experiences with it, please.
I guess I'll go. I'm trying to see if time. I think we were having a button exchange here. Oh God, I love it. But anyhow, yeah, that diabetes is a beast, and it's a beast. It's hard to understand. And just sharing, my father was a diabetic, and when we had to kind of help take control of that, it got confusing. What to give them, when to give them. Do you give them insulin this time? Do you give it that time? And what if we can't administer it the amount of times a day that he needs it? It was mind blowing. It was difficult. Going to nutrition classes and trying to figure out things. And he wasn't a young person, and so it sometimes it's based on his taste. You know, if it was okay, if you didn't want this, which was healthy, should we give him that, which is unhealthy, because he'll eat it? And so those were some of the things that I think we struggled um, with him. And so, and I have to say, you know, there are resources out there, but they helped us along. I know what he was a veteran, so kind of helped us monitor it like every couple of weeks, and we kind of process it because we would get frustrated, you know, wanting him to eat, you know, and but we wanted him to be healthy as well. And so trying to figure that whole thing out. And toward the last few months, it got easier because we had the more hands-on help to kind of help guide us through this. To the point that said, well, if this is what he's eating and that's all, just go ahead and give it to him. He's 91. And so, but you know, I wish I would have had to help with a better handle on, or understood it better, because it will fluctuate. Sometimes it was great, sometimes it was bad, you know. So it was really a hit or miss. And but it's a hard disease to understand and navigate, you know. So my heart's, you know, I'm trying to monitor what my intake is, and I know I'm not doing all that great, but I'm doing better than what I was. So I haven't been diagnosed with diabetes, but you know, I can feel interested if I eat a certain thing. You know, I know it's okay. Let me just back up off of this. Let me not do this. Let me not do that. And the other thing I just kind of want to kind of touch on, you know, I haven't had any children myself, but I know this, and I'm not sure if it's a good thing or a bad thing. And sometimes I think introducing children at an early age to foods that maybe can become like, you know, this is good, I want more of that, you know. And I'm not sure, you know, I hear different people say, you know, that's good, or that's, let them try this or let them try that. But the thing is, you know, on juices and stuff with a lot of sugar in it, and you know, I think they say sugar could be addicting, you know, 'cause, yeah, and I can kind of picture that because some stuff, you know, I had to wean myself off a lot of sugar, you know, because it did, you know, I would get some sugar, so that's good, I want it next time. So I try to really watch my sugar intake, knowing that I could be at risk. But I think even introducing kids to things so early and giving them so much of it, you know, they're not gonna, you know, I don't know if that's a good thing, but maybe trying some stuff that might not be high in sugar or carbs or something like that at an early age, because it's like months. Oh, let them try that, and oh, this is good. The baby will like it, but then they'll continue to like it, and it's hard to curb it once they've got it in them. So that's just my take on that, and I'm not bashing anyone. I just don't understand if that has any effect on it or not.
Well, my mother had it and her uncle had diabetes. My mom got it late in life. She was like in her 50s, and she almost went in a diabetic coma, not knowing what was going on. But we learned to adapt to it. Um, right now, today, I eat with very little salt. I, you know, I try to herbally um, season my food. If you best way to say it. I'm not a big fan of Mrs. Dash. I mean, because that's nasty. But I have been borderline, but that's when you'll see me backing up and running more. Like you said, Trey, watch what I eat, and I back up off of my sugar because I love candy. I can live off candy every day, but I have control of it to the point of knowing, whoop, I'm feeling a little different. Let me back off. So, with that being said, it is a mindset that you have to get into to make that difference. And with my mom, we found that she would have certain things, but if like she used to, I'll never forget, she used to love Wendy's Frosties. So what we would do, I said, okay, Mom, if that's what we're gonna do today, then you can't have this for breakfast, you can't have this or that. So what we would do was alter her meals that day so that she can have that frosted. She might not be able to eat it all, but she would get the taste out of her mouth and she would enjoy it. And it wasn't taken away from her. So that is how we adjusted certain things that she liked and would accommodate for her. She was a smoker also, but when she had her triple bypass, that went away. I mean, she had heart conditions, heart disease, and a little bit of everything. I just refuse to have it. I'm just not going out like that. So far, I'm uh, a step away from 60, which she called hers like in 50 something. And just like I know my mom passed away at 62, I'm going well beyond 62. I the book stopped at her because I'm not taking it further. And that's the same that I give to my girls. But diabetes, it is a different way of life. And it's not just heavy people. There are small people, very petite, very neat. BMI is way below, and they have diabetes. So it's all in how your body produces the insulin in itself. And that's where, it's not a weight. Well, in some cases, there is weight, but then there's a lot of cases that people have it, and is weight is not an issue. It's just your body don't produce. So you have to look at it from both sides of the street and just see where you fall and work it the best that you can and make it, comfortable for you. Like you said, Trey, you know, your daddy was up in age, and it's like you didn't want to deny him from having what he likes, but yet you didn't want the blood sugar to, shoot up high. And my aunt has diabetes, though, and she know what she can and cannot. She checks it quite frequently, 3 times a day, sometimes four. When she have her cake or whatever, she know how to do her insulin, and then she back off. You know, she learned to back off. So it is definitely a mindset, a way of life, and you have to take control of it, because if not, it will take control of you, and that's what you don't want it to do. So it can be controlled. It just takes discipline, like in anything else. Discipline. Sometimes you sacrifice what you eat to have what you want, but at the end of the day, you got to have that discipline.
Thank you,
Can I
ladies.
just
And
piggyback?
oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Trey. Go ahead.
No, I was just listening to Tommy, and I know when you said your aunt takes her blood sugar 3 times a day, it depends on where she pricks. I can't imagine the pain associated with that. Oh, she has that in her arm. Oh, okay. Yeah, because I know some people that have done that, because it gets tender where you are. And one of the good things, and I just want to throw this out, that with my dad, the person that was the doctor that was kind of helping us with him, it, it, she gave he was given the opportunity to take his sugar 1 time in the morning, and if his sugar level was over a certain amount, then we give him the long acting, and that really helped us out a lot. I don't know if that's going to help anybody else, but I'm just throwing it out there for anybody who's frustrated, because at one point he was on insulin 4 times a day. My sister and I worked, so we couldn't give it to him 4 times a day. The aides couldn't give it to him because they weren't med certified to give it to him. And so, and then trying to pick if he didn't eat this at this time, should we still give it to bring? You know, it was a lot. And so I would suggest that anyone just have a conversation with their doctor to find out what's going to be most convenient, especially if you're caring for someone that can't do it for themselves.
Just a quick, she up until here recently, in the last, I'm gonna say within the last month to maybe 2 months, she was still pricking, but she learned to prick on the side where there's very little tendon of feeling, as opposed to the, you know, the ball of where most of your nerve endings are. We learned how to work on each side of her finger to learn to it, and it didn't hurt as much. It became a norm. So that's how she dealt with it.
Well, I tell you, it's and like thank you both of you all, and mainly what you did say, Tommy, also is not just limited to a certain group of people, because you've got people who are overweight, you have people who are just fine with their weight. I know people who work out and they take exercising very seriously, but they have health issues as well. And they've always been an athlete or athletic, you know, through their high school, you know, their tender young years. But you know, but it's listening to your body. It's listening to your body, realizing your history as well, but listening to your body and going from there and honoring that. And I was just looking at while you all were talking, the Lord steered me towards, you know, gluttony, eating too much. When I was talking, when Trey was talking about the little people, you know, little kids. Yes. What do you feed them? Your healthy snacks. Even going into children's church, you know, you take your little snacks, and usually it's little crackers or, you know, something sweet or whatever, and maybe some chips. And, you know, what do we feed them? You know, what do we feed them? Um, and it does start at a young age. You know, my daddy that adopted me, his sisters could bake. My grandmother could bake out of this world. No box cakes at all. Nothing with the box. It was, oh, Jesus. And they could bake. And when they knew we were coming up to Bronson, Florida, they already had cakes and fruit cake, everything on my grandmother's table. Go Willie Lee coming. They coming. And that was, oh my God, it was just everything. They had 2 deep freezers full of wild game, gopher and deer and all kinds of stuff. And so we be up there for a week, and we get, you know, we can eat the cake any time of the day and stuff like that. We didn't have it so much when we came home, but there are some people whose household that's what they do. They throw out Thanksgiving spread every Sunday, you know, and if you're not watching the kids, they're sneaking the food or whatever the case may be. Oh, you're giving them the food because you don't want to hear their mouth. You go in your room and play. You know, okay, go and get your piece of that pound cake. Okay, we have some ice cream. Yeah, go ahead. Go and do what you got to do. And sometimes we're instilling bad habits that we can't roll them back out of. You know, and so it's what it comes down to. And I want to, you know, make sure we end on a really good note is self-care. Be aware of your heritage. I've met a few couples and few individuals over my lifetime that said that they were adopted and they didn't want to ever meet their biological parent or parents. They held their anger, and you could tell just by them talking about it. It's there. I wanted to know because I'm going to a prophet prophesied 2 years in a row. You know, the Lord's doing a work in your lower abdomen. I walked back to my chair like, I don't know what he's talking about. I'm healthy. Ain't nothing going on in my lower abdomen. The second year he did that again. And I was like, I'm like, wait, okay, God. And I went to my gynecologist and I said, is there something going on? So she said, well, let's do a sonogram. Let's do a sonogram just to make sure. And sure enough, there was a cyst on my left ovary. But it was a ghost one. It would disappear, would come and go. I had no symptoms from it, nothing. So I called my biological mother and I said, the doctor says I've got something on my left ovary. She said, well, call your aunt in Sarasota. She's the historian of the family. But yeah, we all have it and you're going to have surgery. I'm like, no, I'm not. So I called my aunt, introduced myself for the first time. She heard about me over the years. I said, it's me. I'm calling because, I was referred to you as the historian. I understand I've got a cyst on my left ovary. And she said, oh, baby, it's going to be all right. All the women in the family, we've suffered from it. And you're going to have the surgery. I said, no, ma'am, I'm not. She said, I beg your pardon. She was a Baptist. I beg your pardon. I said, no, it's going to stop with me. But thank you so much. God bless you for talking to me. And it was nice meeting you. And I hung up the phone. And sure enough, I prayed and prayed and prayed. And again, my 6'5" is here. He is now 28 years old. That cyst left me. And so it goes back to praying. What's your praying lifestyle like? Once you hear, once you sit and date, I've trained my boys and my daughter. You start talking to somebody, there's a 20-question survey you got to ask them now. We got to talk about their health. Who's the smoker in the family? Who's the alcoholic? Who's the substance abuser? Y'all got high blood pressure, high thyroid, upper thyroid, lower thyroid? What you got going on? And they're like, Ma, I said, you better ask, because you don't know. It could skip a generation, skip to all of y'all, and it could come in your, with your babies as well. Yes, ma'am.
Also, the incident happened with my niece, my oldest niece. She knew she had the sickle cell trait. And when she met her husband, his mom said, we had him tested and he does not have sickle cell. Well, come to find out, somebody mixed up his information, because my oldest nephew, he has sickle cell, because mom and dad both have traits, and it wasn't developed until we didn't find out he had it until, if I'm not mistaken, he might have been in the 6th grade. He had never had an episode. He had never had anything. What happened? His resistance got low because we didn't know he wasn't eating his lunch at school. And he ended up in the hospital, and come to find out it was sickle cell. And we like, no, I have the trait, but he doesn't have the trait. And it's always the first male born. It's always the first male born child that if the parents have the trait, he will have sickle cell. Well, like you said, prayer is something, because I've prayed for him. He is such a blessing with such a humble heart. But he's graduating this May. He's only had one episode since he's been in school. He has progressed greatly. He's got an opportunity. Well, they came to him. He's interned at Apple this past summer. And they came to him before, September. Offered him, when he graduates, a 6-figure, a bonus, will move him up there, the whole 9 yards. He's just turned 21. So I know, and he works through it. I mean, he fights it. And I continue to pray for him, and he's been doing well. And I give God the glory for him doing well. And I continue to just lift him up, because God is carrying him. But he's doing well. So it's not that he can't, or we allow him to dwell in it. And it was so funny, because I think maybe when he was in high school, his mama said, she thought he was constipated, but you need to take a laxative. Don't you think you need to take a laxative? She ended up taking him, and come to find out, that's when we really know he really went through an episode then. and she felt so bad, but it was a learning experience for him and her because they really didn't have. He had minor episodes, but nothing like the one he had then. And at that point, he learned from it, and he learned to work with it. So it can be done. And he's getting ready to be a college graduate in May. God is good.
Amen. And I referenced Donald's, my son's older brother. He just got his PhD, and he's in his early 30s. He just got his I mean, he went through after his father and I divorced. I was on his way to college, and I said, you know what, let's call Florida State and see if they've got a disability office up there. And I was able to get linked to that person. And she said, well, when he comes up here for orientation, how will I know? I said, well, he's 6'8". You'll know him. And sure enough, she's okay. I think later on we talked. She goes, "Oh, I saw him. I got him." And she went over and introduced herself, and she provided with him whatever he needed and things like that. Because again, I said it really took a toll on their vision. It takes a toll on their vision. And he's gone on and gone out of the state, went to Boston for his undergrad, came back to Miami and get his PhD. They offered him a 6-figure job because he wants to help the disabled students on campus. And it's just amazing. So yes, perseverance, teaching them how to pray, praying consistently, binding that thing up as best as you can, but you got to stay on it. And there's a way that he'll make a way out of no way. He will make a way out of no way. If we can encourage you to do that and to understand that, whatever it may be, whatever disorder that's genetically, get placed on somebody, you got to just recognize what it is. And there's a way. I mean, I know we go with medication, and I don't like taking medication. I think that's how the twins got here, but don't tell nobody. But anyway, it's just, you just don't. That birth control pill get you kind of confused, even though they got that little dial thing. Then you're like, wait a minute, I ain't taking my. Oh dear. Anyway, so I'm not a pill taking person. That's why I'm glad we have the IV lounge here. That you can get your vitamin shots and your B12 shots and stuff like that. And they have good deals, and they've got a special on 10 shots for $100. And it's up to you whenever you take them. And once you finish that 10 shots, then they don't keep your charge card and your card, credit cards, anything. You come in, you pay cash. And the Kardashians first exposed me to it. I thought I had to go to LA to experience it. Come to find out, one of my spiritual daughters just happened to mention it. I said, what is that? And she told me what it was. I said, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? And I went the next day and signed up. And as a matter of fact, they helped with my back to school supplies. They had a whole basket as part of their thing as a commercial piece, marketing piece to get folks in there. And so they collected, and they said, oh, you can have it. We want to donate to your cause. I said, thank you. See? And then you're wondering how you can get sponsors and stuff. They're right there. You see them every 3 months. You see them every month. You see them every year, every 6 months. You got your sponsors right there. And but yeah, so we have the IV lounge now that you can go and get your supplements and weight loss and all kinds of things that's there. And take your supplements. There's a supplement. I was in CVS. I was like, oh Lord, I'm doing just like this. Oh Lord, where is trying to find a probiotic, this new one that's out and it's really helping people lose weight. And so I'm looking just to see if they had it, but people took it. They started talking about the results and stuff. So you could take your vitamins, eat healthy. Like Tommy said, you just have to, and Trey both said, you have to, just what you eat, go ahead and indulge, because we all got it. We all have it. We all have our little specialties, what we like. Go ahead and indulge, but you got to follow up with water. You got to I'm a sweet tea person. They're breaking me out of it because they really messing up with the sweet tea, and they ain't cooking it. They ain't making it in a pitcher with some sugar anymore. They're putting on those drops and stuff like that, artificial stuff. So it's taking a toll, and I'm like, okay, I can't drink this anymore. And we don't make it at home, so I'm like, okay, So you supplement and you drink water. I got to chase water. My daughter's on me all the time. Did you drink water? I said, can you just put me? Nuh-uh. No, you having water. What's in your cup? What's in your cup? And so I was like, okay, fine. And I can open up the bottle of water and I have to drink it because I know what I, I had an 8-ounce, thing of tea yesterday. So I need to, and everything's different. You can tell your urine, your outtake is different. Your body is different. You don't have the pain in your body anymore, from drinking sodas. Found out about that one, just little stuff like that. But please take care of yourself. Guys, we only have about 4 minutes left. I want you all to just give us give our audience some last motivational talks and encouragement.
I just say one day at a time. Just find out what works for you. Something that I've tried to do now is, instead of like pouring a soda, or because I was really love soda or something sweet, I would do a big thing of water and then maybe add the flavor I like right near the top. So it's still giving me a slight breaking the monotony of the water, but it's not like much of the sugar intake. Because I can drink sweet tea. I mean, I can drink tea without sugar and stuff now. And I didn't see how my dad would drink diet sodas and all that stuff back then. But now I can drink tea without any sugar in it and stuff like that. Just find out what works for you, one day at a time. I don't do it all the time, but you know what I mean. I can do that, and so just find out what works for you.
I said, like Miss Grace said, try to get those cups of water in. Start with your 8. And if you can't get as many as you can, usually your bottle is 16 ounces or whatever. So you try to drink you as many of those during the day. Be mindful of the cold water though. My mom used to always say, you better drink warm room temperature water. It's an acquired taste, but if you keep trying, it'll work itself out. And at the same time, try to get your vegetables in. I try to do little meat but strong on vegetables. Your green leafy vegetables, your sweet potatoes instead of white potatoes. Those different entities. Learn how to steam your vegetables. And something my daughter got me hooked on, and I love macaroni and cheese, but she hit me on to cauliflower mite. That's another plus. I fell in love also with spaghetti squash. All those, instead of the actual carbs, you're taking your vegetable and supplementing them, and you're getting the same as spaghetti. You're getting the same as, macaroni and cheese, but it's just without the carb of the pasta. So it's just ways of eating better, and ain't nothing wrong with a 30-minute walk if you can.
Amen. Amen. Exercise, govern, and eat in moderation. Also, you got to do some reverse psychology on your mind too. Your flesh is telling you one thing and trying to tempt you, and the TV commercials don't help. That's all our time. We are just up. I mean, we having fun. It just flies. Next week, please join us. We're going to be talking about Thanksgiving and holiday woes. And we're going to have some very interesting information to share with you. Y'all stay safe. Thank you, ladies. Y'all be blessed. Good night. Take care.
Good night.